head coach of the Union Grove girls basketball team, Coach JB Littlejohn. Coach, how you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you, Kyle.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Now let's talk about you. You had a big accomplishment yesterday, Tuesday. Your team got a 75-43 win over West Rusk, which is a big deal. And I believe, was that a conference game or a district game?
Still non-district.
Still non-district.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
But still, big win yesterday. But it was your 500th career win. So after that moment, after the game went final, and you realized it was the 500th win, what was that moment like for you?
Oh, wow. So just very blessed to be at Union Grove, first of all. A great school district, great community, and, of course, the girls that get to coach there, fantastic. So it was kind of surreal, honestly. People have been hitting me up, and I just said all it means is I'm old at this point, kind of old. But it was you're happy, first of all, because you're focusing on the kids. It's about the kids and things that we get to accomplish as coaches. It's on the coattails of your kiddos, that you're working with, because you really want to see them be successful. So watching them play great basketball yesterday, and just a lot of kids doing a lot of great things, and then for a moment to step back and see people acknowledging what I've been able to do individually, and my family. And it's just, it just runs through your brain so quickly. Like all of a sudden you're just sitting there and it's like this Rolodex of things from day one of being a young coach, thinking you got it all and you know it all when you're 23, 24, to then the journey of where I am right now. So it was awesome, a lot of emotions, and just really trying to reflect, but also stay current, because we've got a season, things that we're still trying to accomplish, and not let that be what it's about this year for us. But definitely was cool, for sure.
Well, when you're talking about day one coaching, could you ever, when you were thinking about coaching, did you ever envision 500 wins and how long it may take you to get there and what it would be like? Did you ever envision that?
Yeah, so, I'll back up. I was fortunate that as a high school player, my junior, senior year of high school, I moved to Clarksville, Texas. I grew up in Pittsburgh. So I've been an East Texas, person my whole life. But while I was at Clarksville, junior and senior year, I played for a legendary coach. His name is Clyde Carlisle. And he ended up with over 1,100 career wins when he called it quits. Now, he's since passed. His wife is still alive. She's like 95. She hit me up. But anyway, Coach Carlisle, I was blessed to be coached by somebody like that. I don't know that when you're 17, you really know what it's all about. But anyway, I played for a state championship. I was a starting guard my senior year on a state runner-up team. We went 35-2. And that's kind of, with that, I really knew that's what I wanted to do. And even before that, at Pittsburgh, Coach Armwine was instrumental. And anyway, so, kind of knew, all right, this as a player, this is awesome. I want to get back to being a part of this and went into education, coaching. Then when I started out my career, funny thing about the 500 is my first year as an assistant coach at Quitman, Texas, Robert Linker was kind of at the age I'm at now. And it's kind of funny. He's a little bit older, I think, maybe 55, 56. I'm about to be 53. And Coach Linker that year reached 500 wins. And I just remember thinking like, wow, that's so cool that, here's a guy that's longevity, he's been able to do it. And that's hard in our profession, to stay with it and do it for lots of different reasons. And I thought, Coach Carlisle, 1,100, woo, yeah, I don't know. But Coach Linker, and that's a really cool milestone, and it is something our association acknowledges. 500's kind of like saying, you know what, you were successful more than you weren't, kind of thing, right? And I think we do want to be successful, but again, it is being successful through your kids. So I guess at that point when he did that my first year, I guess I went home and talked to my wife and thought, I hope I can be that. Yeah. Maybe someday. And he was a great guy, like really, good community, pillar of the community guy.
Did they still play at Ballard? Was Ballard still being played at in Quitman then?
Yeah, and so I know Coach Ballard too.
Oh,
and
nice.
So, yeah, my wife's from Quitman, so okay. she thought a lot of Coach Linker. I know everybody did. I was blessed to be able to learn under him as an assistant. So that question it's kind of cool that you asked that, because in getting there, I've thought a lot about Coach Linker over the last couple of weeks,
That's crazy, and not to say that you're in your final year of coaching by any means,
yeah.
But it's kind of cool full circle moment, right? Your first year coaching.
Yes, sir.
Seeing that happen, and then now you being able to experience.
I would agree with that, and that's been good.
So what's something going back to those early days of coaching? How much has your coaching style changed, if any at all, from kind of your first couple of years coaching to where you are now?
Man, my wife might be better off of asking her that question. I think playfully, some of the early years, I might have been too wound up and maybe overly competitive with the mentality. I remember my wife told me after maybe 5 or 6 years, she just kind of said, hey, you got to realize you loved it in such a way that maybe not everyone loves it like that, but it doesn't mean they don't want to be there too, and it's not still important to them. And she goes, the program you came from, the coaching you came from, not everybody maybe relates to that. That was great advice. I mean, I definitely have grown a lot because of who I've been around, but my wife's helped me grow the most. And that perspective, so I think early, a lot of guys probably come to today, the 40-year-old people that I coached would say, man, you're soft now. You got soft. So I think, the intent was always to try to get the best out of the kiddos. I think I was probably pretty wound up and just so intently competitive and still young. And I was coaching boys at that time. I spent the first 14 years of head coaching, I was a boys head coach. I have 3 daughters. And so I transitioned. This is my 11th year at Union Grove. And so I transitioned over, and Union Grove allowed that opportunity so I could do it with my daughters, selfishly maybe, but also, just a different way of approaching the sport and girls. So anyway, I think that with boys early on, the intensity was probably, I was at fault at maybe being too intense, Society's shifted a little bit.
That was what I was going to say, too, that the kids nowadays, you kind of have to coach them differently, right? Like, you can't do everything you did 20 years ago with these same set of kids, for good and better, I think there are some good qualities in that, but it's also, this is a deeper issue, but it's also getting to the point where it is a softer generation, where some people can't take coaching as well as other kids. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think, kids are still kids. We forget that. I think the kids, they are the stimulation that comes with, social media, for example. I think that question of comparing today to yesteryear is probably another interview. But I guess for me, I would say the one thing, and being a father and watching my own daughters, they have to be able to access what's current, right? And what's current is constant stimulation and social media and interactiveness and all of that. So sometimes the attention span with something and to stay really, truly committed to a journey of one thing, especially when it's hard. I think that's the challenge for the youth today, is that when it gets hard, it's just so much easier to go find something else.
Turn it off and do something different.
And that's just not how I was. Obviously, my age speaks to that, and even how I was coached. So I guess I try to, the core of me is old school, right? Like I tend to lean that way, and that's who I am from parenting and from how I was coached. But I also have tried to grow with the times and with the kids to understand what they're dealing with. And honestly, again, back to my wife and then my own children, I think as coaches, as we become parents, if we're really truly reflective and we're listening and we're really invested in parenting, I think that helps us be better coaches. I think coaches, the dark side of coaching can be you are disconnected from your children. You are disconnected from your wife, not purposely. It's just because of how driven you probably are and what you're trying to do for other people's kids and what it asks of you. But I think that, I've been fortunate that I've tried to stay connected with my wife and stay connected with my children, and they in turn have helped me be a better coach. I do feel that way. I hope others feel that way. Some of this you're asking me how, but, you hope others see you as someone who is growing and trying to be relative present. I talk to my kids about be present, stay present. I try to do the same thing, and you got to listen to people to do that.
Yeah, you can't be one-track minded and stuck to your guns there. So you mentioned you started out at Quitman early on, and then obviously these past 11 years at Union Grove. Fill me in on the in-between. Where have your coaching stops been?
Yeah, so assistant coach, first 4 years, Quitman for 3, then Denison for a year. You know, that was just straight basketball and a lot of metropolitan basketball, like Derek Harper's son. You know, I'm in a game as assistant coach, and I'm trying to pay attention to basketball, but I'm also like going, there's like celebrities coming in here. Like, yeah, like that's Derek Harper's son. What? Oh my gosh, I'm gonna talk to him after the game, and you know. But anyway, so that was good exposure to that, you know, type of athleticism and pace of game. It's different, you know, the Metroplex and all that. Anyway, and then first head coaching job, little 1A school, Fruitvale's great, great opportunity to get started. Just want to be a head coach, you know, and just get started. And you think you know, but you don't know what you don't know, kind of stuff. And so we need that. I'm thankful for places and opportunities to learn and grow into it instead of just, hey, I know, let me do this, because sometimes you'll get overwhelmed and it's not great, you know. So anyway, Fruitvale, then I went to Grayford, and that was probably really when you're going to find out if you can coach or not. There comes those moments where you are in positions where, you know, the community, the kids, there's tradition, they expect something, and you're either going to sink or swim. I mean, it's just the reality. It's like coaching over at Martins Mill, for example. Like, hey, you know, they're not going to, right. It's like you're not building a culture. You're not trying to tell them. I mean, they already know, like, that's exactly right. So Grayford had a couple down years, but they had a history of being a basketball community. And in my third year at Grayford, we made it to the state semifinals, our boys team, and we lost by 4 in the state semis. But that was one of those moments, again, that was surreal, because I had played in the state tournament, and then I had made it back. And that was something my wife and I had talked about. And my girls, my 2 oldest, were little. And so, you know, they kind of, but it's not really something they truly understood at the time. But my wife and I was like, hey, that's cool. Like I made it back to this environment. And this was in Austin before they totally different role. And I was so much more like, you know, you go as a player, it's just another game. I mean, people, it is and it isn't, but still at 17, 18, it's another game. You're just playing in these bigger environment, but I wasn't really overwhelmed with that. But as a coach, I was like, oh gosh, you're just thinking about so many more things, your kids and all the logistics of it. So it was cool. So anyway, and did that, and then we came back to East Texas, wanted our kiddos not to grow up not seeing grandparents, you know, and it was hard leaving Grayford. It was more of a family move. Went to Rivercrest. I got my master's at Tarleton while I was out there. So I was high school principal at Rivercrest and head boys basketball, doing a duo. And then went to Pittsburgh, kind of went back home in a way, full circle, where I grew up, you know, all my childhood. And it was an assistant principal, head basketball, and then finally I just had to make a career decision. You know, I'd been in admin for about 10 years and also still coaching in small school. And at that time, my wife and I just decided, you know, let's get in a small school. Let's get in a place where it's maybe good for everybody. Because I think that's what we all do professionally, especially in coaching. What's good for the coach isn't good for the family. What's sometimes good for the family is not good for the coach. So it is, and I think we all do that, really. You hope at some point you can have balance, personal, professional balance. And got out of admin. Union Grove hired us. My wife is a kindergarten teacher there. I'm girls coordinator and head coach, teach history. Our 2 oldest girls already come through Union Grove and graduated. My youngest is an 8th grader. All she's known as Union Grove. And we've had balance, like Union Grove has been balanced. And we've just been, it's just great. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, being able to win 20 games every year and have these kids that
helps.
It does, you know, but I think that's the gig, right? Like coaches want to see kids succeed. Coaches, we want to win games. We want to do those things, right? But you want them to be winners in life. And we talk about, that's where I try to really channel the competitive nature is handle the hard. Yeah. Don't walk away from it. Wait your time. I tell them all the time, my junior year, I was sixth man. We got beat in the regional finals. I played like 2 minutes in the playoffs. I mean, we were 3 points from going to state. I hardly saw the floor. Next year, I'm a starter and playing in a state championship game. Like, you don't know what's coming. And so my Union Grove kiddos have done really great with hanging in there, not shying away from the hard. The community and the administration's supportive. And then our girls have just, as parents, we look at our kids and, my oldest daughter graduated from Tech with her master's in 4 years. My other one's a junior over here at UT Tyler, where my wife and I graduated from way back. And then my youngest. So it's just, I'm very blessed to, one, being in it long enough to get to 500. But even more blessed that my children are doing great things because of Union Grove ISD,
Let's talk about your team this year, right? 18-1 record this season.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned 20-win seasons. You're popping them out left and right, looking like you're getting another one there. My favorite thing, I've been to Union Grove Gym to call a couple of playoff games.
Yeah.
The gym is amazing. Like the light show that happens pregame, like it's so cool. So talk to me a little bit about that environment and your team this year. What do you think about it this year?
Yeah, so as far as the facility, we came to Union Grove and they had already had passed that bond to get that. I couldn't have told you anything about the roster that I was going to inherit, our facility. We were, like I said, we just knew we wanted small school, switch girls, try to find balance. And in the meantime, you get there, and within year 2, they build that facility that you're talking about for 2A. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. And, and so, and then we just immediately, like my first year, regional quarterfinals, next year, regional semis, next year, regional semis. I'm like, it's just like, oh my gosh. And we just continued, like we've made the playoffs every year, gone to the regional tournament 4 of those years, the past 10. And then here we are this year, this group of kids. I graduated we went to the regional semis last year, graduated 4 seniors, and so we're pretty young. Only have 1 senior on this squad this year. So I'd have to say, if I'm being honest, I don't know if surprised is fair because the culture's good and the kids, like they care about the tradition. They do, but still, sophomores and juniors, and of course our leading scorers are freshmen. Yeah. So you're not sure.
Future's bright.
Man, let me tell you, like this group of kids, and they were very engaged in the whole 500 thing. Like, you know what I mean? So they celebrated that. They made it a big deal for me, and I really love them for that and appreciate that. So this year's group, we've got a tough district though: Harleton, Hawkins, McLeod. I mean, it's not like you just feel like you're just going to run through things. I mean, and Hawkins has got a great tradition.
That's what
there.
I was about to say. I remember Hawkins and Union Grove girls basketball having battles, right? Coming down district championships on the line, battles between those 2 schools. So Hawkins has a great tradition. Union Grove has a great tradition. You talked about it. That district is pretty loaded with some basketball talent.
Yeah, and good coaching too. Yeah. I mean, there's just a combination of those things where the cultures, the expectation of the kids. So we're talking about Union Grove, but I assure you, Hawkins, Harleton, McLeod, they share in that as well. And I think that's why we also have success in the playoffs. Our district does. Like last year, both us and Hawkins were both in the regional semis, opposite side. And then Harleton advanced to the second round. And Coach Strong over there does a great job. So, I mean, and you want that, right? I mean, I think that if you go through a district that's a little bit too soft, oftentimes it's not going to help you, and so you stress a little because man, every game and it's just the way it is, but you also appreciate and respect the process because it gets you ready for hopefully the next level, which is the playoffs. And that's why I talk to my kids.
Tested.
Yeah, you want to be a little battle tested, and our district I think does that. And then with this group, it's about. I always tell them, like, you can't think about next year. That's the whole important of being present. It's real easy sometimes to, like, go, well, yeah, but we're all back, and I'm like, hey, but next year's like who gets injured or
Right.
who moves, and
Why not this year?
Yeah, I mean, my Grayford team that got beat in the state semifinals, like I told you earlier, I had a 6'5" kid, and his mom just suddenly passed in the summertime. He had to move to a school, new community, different things, and go live with grandparents. So it was a tragedy.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a tragedy for his family,
Yeah.
but in some ways, the other part of it, he didn't get to stay with us, and we
Right.
went to the state semifinals, and we were missing a 6'5", 6'6" kid,
Yeah.
right?
Which could have been the difference.
It could have been,
Yeah.
and for him too, like, right? I mean,
sure.
he could have been with us doing that and anyway.
Yeah.
So I guess I just say that whole deal about staying present in so many ways, because we're doing some good things right now, and we need to try to bank on that and not worry about, well, there's still growth for next year.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, this year right now, who knows what we can do, and let's keep working towards that.
Well, I was victim of that too, because when you started mentioning leading scorer freshman, I said, "Well, future's bright." I immediately thought future and next year. So that's on me. I'm guilty of that as well. Well, Coach, thank you so much for coming in today and chit chatting with us. Congratulations again on 500 wins. Hopefully, we get 500 more. Maybe get that 1100 mark.
Yeah, I'll look a little older probably than when I see you. But, yeah, thank you so much. And, again, thank y'all for what y'all do in covering East Texas kiddos and sports and putting them out there. Y'all do a great job, and thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, Coach Littlejohn of the Union Grove Lady Lions basketball team.